This lesson is on 11.6, Congruence and Transformations. So what we want to do is we want to prove that these two triangles here, or figures, are congruent by using the different transformations. So congruency means that the triangles are the same. So here, looking at this, number one, our triangles are facing different directions. And number two, they're in different places. So when I'm looking at this, I'm not asking you to go get a ruler and make sure that they're perfectly, exactly identical. I just want you to prove that by doing different transformations, these would end up the same. So for example, with this one, looking at it, since they are facing different directions, I know that we're going to have to do a reflection. So it's going to have to reflect. So from facing this way, it's going to have to, boom, reflect there and face that way. So we know one way to prove the congruence is step one, it needs to have a reflection. Then guess what? It's not up here, it's all the way down here. So in order to move from one place to another, it needs to have a translation. So once this original triangle ABC is reflected to here and then translated down, they end up being congruent. All of the angles are the same, all of the sides are the same. They're just flipped and slid. So the two triangles are congruent because a reflection followed by a translation will make triangle ABC turn into XYZ. Here in example 2, we want to determine if the two figures are congruent by using transformations once again. So looking at these, okay, we know they're not facing the same way, but if I were to take this shape here, this isn't going to work how I want it to. Oh yeah, well. If I were to take this shape and go, it's not going to work how I want, but I want to pull this shape down here and I want to go, okay, let's reflect it. So it'll look something like this. Put that back where it belongs. Now, look here when I'm moving this around. Do my top pieces up here, so here and here, do they line up with the ones on here? No. No matter what I do, this piece right here will never match up with this piece because one is higher than the other one is on the shape itself. So nothing that I do, transforming by rotating, reflecting, or translating this, will make these shapes the same. I would have to physically manipulate the figure itself. So these two shapes are not congruent. And if I'm explaining myself, I would say this side piece on the original image is in a higher placement than the side piece on the second image. What were the three transformations that we can be used again to prove that figures are congruent? Just as a reminder, we have translations, where you move up and down or side to side. Reflections, so like a mirror image, you're folding it in half and then it's being placed on the other side, as well as rotations. So we're turning it around a point. So in our final problem here, it says the logo on the right was created for a plumbing company. So we have our diamond plumbing. We want to know what transformations the creator could have done if she used the letter D as the preimage and P as its image. And then I want to know if these two things are congruent. So looking at it here, I'm starting off with this letter. I've got the tall part on the top and the circle on the bottom left. In the image, the circle's on the right and the tall part is on the bottom. So I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to spin it around. And guess what that turned into? A P. So our initial shape is rotated. And it's rotated 180 degrees. So when I take this right here, watch, boom, it turned right into a P. But is it right on top of where that P is? No. So it also was translated in order to get it to its current placement. So our original image D was rotated 180 degrees and then translated to make the P. That's the gist of proving congruency using transformations.